Hey, Dan Meyer here, and I am back for part 2 of the origins of e-commerce. Again, the idea here is that we're going to look at the history of e-commerce, right? It's not that old, but in the 30 plus years of history of e-commerce, there's a lot of lessons to be learned. A lot of smart people put a lot of effort into solving problems that sometimes we take for granted today. And we need to kind of understand the lessons that they learned when they first solved the problems that we can still use today when we're trying to make money online. Because e-commerce is full of great ideas, of great innovations. It's the ultimate application of technology to give us the convenience of doing business without having to go somewhere and exchange physical money. The revolution this has caused is something that we probably underestimate the importance. So we want to understand a little bit more about it. I talked about that in the first video that dropped before this one. I also talked about how to stay on the cutting edge, how important it is to make sure you have an eye on the future and see where the technology is driving business in your niche, in your industry, and what you do. We talk about how to scale with systems, how to make money online, talked about the importance of building in redundancy and staying connected, which apps to use for cloud storage and for messaging and communication. And most importantly, I talked a lot about how to think like a store and act like a neighbor. The idea that you want to have everything that somebody would have in a physical location, but you have it online, yet you run your business not like a retail store, but like a neighbor. That philosophy is really important to being successful. It's something that Amazon just nails, and they're really good at. So we took some of the lessons we learned on the previous video, and we'll apply them today as well. The other thing we'll do today is we'll talk about some new things. We'll talk about what a watershed year 1994 was. That was the year that what we call e-commerce really started, and why it's still important for us to think about that. We'll talk about more about how to protect your dreams, cybersecurity kind of stuff. We'll talk more about the conveniences of shopping from home and why we probably undervalue that convenience and how much it's worth to people. We'll talk about being in the right place at the right time. We'll look at some great innovators. We'll talk about how to better slice up the pie out there, how to work with your competition, how to be more collaborative. We'll talk about a few marketing lessons to make sure that you have a very simple, easy to navigate, easy to understand, easy to buy from storefront. And then, we'll end up talking about where we're going next. The sky's the limit when it comes to e-commerce. But where is that sky taking us? What's on the horizon? So that's our discussion points for today. Right? So previous video talked about a lot of stuff. Today I'll talk about a lot of stuff. Basically, I'm just going to throw this stuff at you, take some notes, figure out the things that you need to be able to drive your business forward in the e-commerce space. What can you do to help yourself make even more money online? And at the end, I'll talk about how to use a virtual assistant to be able to help you do that. For those of you that aren't too familiar with my story, I started with a business of one, just myself. And I quickly realized to grow my business, to make money, to make an impact that I wanted, I needed help. So I hired a couple virtual assistants, and that team of 2 became a team of 100 over a couple years. I now have over 100 virtual staff. They work for me, and they work for about 20 clients. And what we do is we do anything you can basically want done from a computer, we can do in the name of helping a business become more successful. So I'm a nerd. I'm also a history guy, so I take those two things together, nerd and history, and here we have the origins of e-commerce part 2. So 1994, right? If you're as old as I am, or a little bit, in the same age range, you're going to remember 1994. You remember some of the movies that were big movies like Pulp Fiction and True Lies and Forrest Gump. You remember, the Super Bowl was the Dallas Cowboys. You'll think of it was one of the years that Jordan won another title, but didn't, right? That's the year that the Bulls stopped because Jordan retired, and it ended up being the Houston Rockets that year. The Bulls had won 3 in a row, would win 3 more after, but that year that Jordan didn't play was 1994. Some of the top, TV shows, of course, Friends was big in 1994. 1994 for some of us seems like yesterday. And for those of us it seems like yesterday, these lessons are going to be like, yeah, I recognize that. And for those of us that weren't even born in 1994, or that seems like it was so long ago it's not relevant, I'm going to remind you that history is full of people solving problems. The reason we study famous people in history isn't because we try to, they're famous for no reason. They're famous because they solved a problem, figured something out, did something that was innovative and different that made them noteworthy. So for us to do the same thing, for us to continue to be successful, we have to always look at the insights we can glean from people in the past. So one of the things that happened in 1994, besides Friends and True Lies and and the Houston Rockets, was that people started figuring out how to use cybersecurity, right? The very first SSL, or secure socket layer, nerd term I know, but protecting your data started becoming something people worried about, right? As you store information online, you have to protect it. And it's been a constant battle ever since between people that are trying to protect data and people trying to steal or hack data. And I don't think we're ever going to be at a point where it's ever hacker free. So we have to be smart about it. We have to make sure we invest in some kind of antivirus software or do something to protect our computers. We want to make sure that we're being smart about where we store our personal information, not overstoring it, clearing things out, not letting things get too spread out, using apps like LastPass to secure our password when we have to share access to websites and social media. There's a lot we can do to protect our dreams. I've had a couple of videos I recorded in the past about this. So if you're curious about learning more about what you can do to really kind of make sure you're more successful working in a remote environment, working from home, and you still want to protect your business, protect your dreams, you want to think about that. The next thing I think is important to think about besides that is the fact that in 1994, two important companies were also started to allow people to shop from home. Right? They were revolutionary. Amazon and eBay, right? They pretty much tandemly revolutionized e-commerce. Now think about where Amazon started. It started as an online bookstore, right? That's what it was. It took a while for Amazon to start offering other things. And once they did, they never stopped. And now you can pretty much buy anything you want on Amazon. And eBay started as like an online, garage sale, a place to go to get used secondhand stuff, right? Both of them started out with pretty simple messages, and now both of them are hugely successful, incredibly powerful companies. And they did that because they figured out e-commerce, right? You figure the lessons that they learned are still ones we need to understand because we want to be able to make money online. So what is it about Amazon and eBay that made them so successful? What is in their DNA? Well, for both of them, it was really the right place, right time. And thinking about Amazon, timing was a big deal, right? They just happened to be there at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the Internet Revolution, and they were well positioned to be able to fill a need. A lot of us used to, some of us still do, like to go to bookstores, right? Like to browse books, but it's time consuming. And as we get busier, or at least with perception that we're busier, that we have less and less time to go look at books. So we want to buy them quickly. And we want to buy the ones that our friends are buying. We want to buy the bestsellers. We want to buy what everyone's talking about. Amazon made that possible, right? Amazon has now become the most important book distributor. In a sense, they have the most influence over any title. If you get yourself listed as an Amazon bestseller, that's worth gold, right? And they did that because they were able to tap into a booming market. People being able to want to shop from home, being able to have the convenience of not having to go to a physical location to buy things. Books were where it started, and now it's everything. And Amazon is one of the biggest companies in the world for that reason. They figured out how to make it convenient. And you also want to think about innovations, right? eBay was incredibly innovative, right? They started doing things not just allowing you to buy things, but they started really early on assigning the ability to rate people you bought from and for them to rate you. So it started building a profile of yourself and the people you would do business with. And for a business that was starting out trying to sell things through eBay, having a good rating is super important. If you have a crappy rating, people won't buy from you. And the idea of using ratings, of trying to build a profile that makes you look more trustworthy, makes you look like someone people want to do business with, makes you want to be a neighbor of somebody that you're doing business with, is something that eBay figured out. And everyone does it now, but eBay started that, right? And the idea that you could level the playing field, so an average Joe, anybody could make money online as long as they did it right. They were able to provide a good service. They were able to provide what the people wanted, and that could be shared. That story of how good they are, how trustworthy they are, could be easily shared. That was key, right? And that's what you want to make sure you have in your business. So if you're like Amazon, you want to make sure that you're giving people convenience. And if you're like eBay, you want to make sure you're allowing people to trust you, right? This ability for convenience and trustworthiness are the keys to any online business. So if you're trying to make money online, whether it be through selling something online or selling yourself or selling your business online, you want to constantly ask yourself, am I doing everything I can to make sure that I am coming across as trustworthy, and I'm taking comments and feedback and reviews and sharing that to build the narrative of my story? And if I'm doing that, am I building it in a name of convenience? Am I taking away the pain of my customer? Am I doing something that makes their life easier? If I'm doing that and I can share that and make a big deal about that, they're going to come back again and again, and they're going to tell everyone they know about it. These are the linchpins of e-commerce, things that we can learn from what Amazon and eBay did as far back as the 90s. So the next thing to think about is, how do you really slice a pie, right? It's a huge pie. The pie is limitless, right, as far as the market. Even the most niche businesses I work with, people that coach or train in very specific areas, the sky's the limit, right? There's no limit on the number of customers theoretically they could capture. So you want to think about which slices of that huge pie do you want to eat, right? One of the things that makes companies like Amazon and eBay so successful is that they started segmenting what they do, right? You can look at different types of books. You can look at different types of auctions. If you want to find 1970s Star Wars action figures on eBay, there's a whole way to do that without having to go search through all kinds of other stuff. Their search engine, the way they optimize stuff, the ability to have tags on items, all that stuff allows you to get quicker to what you want, right? So when you Google, I want to buy a Skywalker action figure from 1976, boom, you're going to go right to an eBay page that's going to have that for auction. If you want to buy a certain book by a certain author in a certain genre, you just put that into Google or any search engine, and boom, Amazon's going to pop up right away with that book. And do you want to buy now? Usually it's one click, boom. This kind of convenience comes because they know how to slice the pie. They know how to target market. They understand the demographics, behavior segments. They understand how to look at the geographic outlook of your clients, where they live, understand even their psychology, right? What do they do as far as their buying patterns? What makes them want to buy? Who influences them? Who is part of their decision-making process? You have to kind of understand all this kind of stuff. And there's a science to it. I talk about that in a couple different videos I've recorded. There's a few I dropped a few weeks back about understanding generational segmentation, like what you do for baby boomers online should be different than what you're doing to attract and retain Gen Z online. So that kind of thing is important. Understanding how to slice the pie is something that you need to be able to do. And these things can get complicated. I'm talking about how to understand how to slice the pie. I'm also talking about how to make sure that you're constantly being someone that's trustworthy and you're telling that story. At the same time, you need to be able to have security about your website and about your social media. This is a lot of stuff. This is where it starts getting a little overwhelming, right? This is where you want to start thinking about having a virtual assistant, right? You can hire somebody to do some of your cybersecurity stuff for you. You can hire somebody to do demographic research for you, to segment your market. We can do that for you. We have VAs here at Sonic VA that can do that for you. It's important because where I want you to put your energy, where most of us as entrepreneurs should be putting most of our effort, is in being the front. The storefront, what's on the logo, what's on the labels, what's at the front of the store, what do people see when they see you? So an online storefront should be as simple as possible. A lot of us have websites that are way too cumbersome. Too many tabs, too much text, too many things. Basically, you just want a simple funnel, right? You want to have a legit website so people know you're legit, and then you want to drive them to a course of action that gets them to buy something from you, to become part of your network, to join whatever it is you want them to join, your membership site, your crusade, your message has to be something that drives them, right? So it's all about giving people, customers, shoppers, the information that funnels them to making a purchase. Amazon is great at this, right? They know how to funnel you in to get you to buy things. Study that, learn from that. And again, if you can't do it yourself or don't want to do it yourself, you can hire somebody to do that for you. But this is the area where I think we have to really put most of our mental power, is trying to make the experience of when someone engages with us as simple as possible. If we do that, we're going to be much more successful. So if we're doing all these things, we're going to be successful. And sky's the limit. You know why? Because online businesses start almost nothing to cost. The cost to start is almost nothing. The start is like $30 a month for a domain name and a simple, one-page website. That's all you need. Some people make a lot of money off that. You don't have to invest in a lot of, big, huge things right away. And think about, if you want to start a physical location, it costs tens if not hundreds, if not millions of dollars to start some kind of physical business. But to start an e-commerce business is pretty much, you can start it for free, or pretty darn close to it. You can do a Facebook business page for free and boom, you're going. Basically, sky's the limit on how much money you can make online, how many people you can connect with, how many customers you can serve, how many people out there should and need to hear your message. So the sky is the limit, right? So start thinking about what are the things that you need to focus on. If you watched the first video and you watch this video, you probably came up with a list of 10 things you need to do to be able to drive your business forward when it comes to e-commerce. And we can help you do that, right? Sonic VA, we're all about 3 things. We're all about giving you more consistency in the way that you position yourself, in your availability to your customers, in how people think of you. It's consistent. We want to make sure that you're clear in your message, that your branding, your marketing, everything you're doing comes across so there's not a lot of confusion. So people know exactly what they need from you. They know how to get it. They get in, they get out, they got it, right? That's what you want to have, that clarity of message. And you want to make sure you build certainty, right? You want to build that trust. You want to build that referral list. You want people to give you good reviews. You want them to like and share your story. You want to build a sense of certainty in your clients. That's what we do for you, right? So whether it be through things like media bookings or book promotions or building YouTube videos or running Facebook ads, managing your social media, creating content, doing email campaigns, managing your customer database, anything that needs to be done from a computer, we can do that for you. We want you to focus on what you do best by hiring a VA to do all the rest. A virtual assistant is worth their weight in gold. So if you want to get started with that, you can go to sonicva.com. It's sonicva.com to sign up for a VA and kind of tell us some of the things that you want to outsource. And to recap, there's a lot of things that you need to outsource. You need to have somebody else do, because to be able to grow a business like I've grown mine, to go from 1 person to 100 and make over $1 million a year, you have to be able to scale. And you can't scale if you're not staying up on technology, if you're not thinking about your security, if you're not understanding cloud storage, if you're not understanding how to have a simple, easy to use funnel for a website. All these things require a team of experts to do. And the first thing and the most successful thing that I think you can do to go and take your idea from where it's at now to where you want it to be is to hire a VA to free you up. You need that right hand. You need that person that you can trust to do things in your voice that will help you replicate what you can do and take up things that you can't do. So that's my lesson for today. Based on the origins of e-commerce, you should have a better understanding of what it means to make money online. I want to thank you for your time. Feel free to drop comments and feedback below. And otherwise, I will see you soon with another great video. Now go out there and have a great day.